Are you confused about what you should be eating? Even though you've read all the books, the keto solution and the plant-based vegan raw food dictionary and encyclopedia, you've read every book that there is, or you think you have, yet you still aren't really sure what you should be eating. Are you getting enough of this? Are you getting enough vitamin and this and omega that and that kind of thing? So if you're somebody that is feeling as if you really are unsure what you should be eating, then stay tuned. Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira. Now, I practice something called the Mucusless Diet Healing System by Professor Arnold Ehret, and I've done so for over 20 years, and I've helped thousands of people transform their lives using the methods in that very book. And I transformed my own life. I went from over 300-pound person suffering from numerous ailments to losing over 100 pounds and feeling so much better, overcoming these things without drugs, without a bunch of expensive tonics and herbs, without all these things that most people say, well, you need this. I didn't use those things, and I was able to overcome these issues, and I have a passion of showing other people how to do the same. And what I'd like to talk about today is confidence in what you are eating. What does it take to become confident, to know that what you're eating is right, to know that what you're eating is exactly what your body needs at this moment right now? I know that that's hard for a number of people. And the good news is people's consciousness is raising. I'm seeing so much people getting, even if it's because they got a heart attack or stroke, or they know somebody that did, but they're going plant-based anyway, or they're going vegan, or the raw vegan, whatever it is. However you get there, folks are getting there. But once they're there, they're really confused, because there's a lot of differing opinions, there's differing foods lists, there's all this kind of stuff, and it's making it hard for people to just be confident, just to pick a direction and say, okay, this is how I'm gonna eat, this is what I'm doing, I'm gonna go down this road, and I'm gonna just let it do whatever it's gonna do. In some cases, people are doing that with some of the, in my opinion, would be the more extreme approaches, the lack of transition folks. There's a lot of people that don't have the privilege of really being exposed to the transition diet, and so they end up finding themselves in a predicament when they failed to transition. They get to a ceiling, they're starting to feel terrible, and then instead of taking a step back and using and eating certain things that's not perfect, but it's not as bad, is going back to Burger King and McDonald's and that kind of thing. So one of the things to do if you want to gain this confidence, first and foremost, read the Mucusless Diet Healing System book, and we always have to refer people to that book, but you want to get away from this reliance on foods lists. I hear that all the time. People say, well, I read this one foods list, and what about this food? Or, this kind of analysis of each and individual food. You want to think in terms of system. Mucusless Diet Healing System. Check out the entire system, because it's not just about removing all of the wrong foods overnight, or some kind of straight line where once you get off of something, you'll never ever eat it again, or you'll never go back. This is not that stringent of a methodology. Now, people think it is, because people are bringing baggage from other things, and things that they've heard, and stereotypes and stuff like that. But when you read the Mucusless Diet Healing System, especially lessons 15, 16, 17, the transition diet lessons, you see how rational that this thing is, how evolutionary of things, as Ehret says, things happen in evolutionary ways and not catastrophes. That's not what we want. So to develop the confidence, first and foremost, ask yourself this question. So one huge recommendation that I will make to you is, if you're going to do this thing, be all in on whatever it is you choose. Because see, this era, now I've noticed this over the past like 10, 15 years, people get diverted in a bunch of different directions because of the nature of social media, the nature of online, where when I got into the Mucusless Diet Healing System, that was it. I was like, I'm focusing on this for better or worse. I'm gonna go down this road and try to master it and see what's at the other side of this thing. We have so few people today achieving levels of mastery because they are so splintered. So many different books and so many different YouTube gurus and Twitter people and Instagram gourmet vegan chefs and all that kind of stuff. And it's really causing people to just be pulled in so many different directions. So my recommendation is, if you align with and you feel Mucusless Diet Healing System, read that book and immerse yourself into that methodology. Don't try to bring in the raw foodist dogma that you heard about over here, or some kind of fruitarian dogma, or some kind of deal with that book, because that book has worked for years and years and years for generations of people. A lot of these other things are little fad kind of things that come and then they go. My recommendation is, if you want to get to the mastery of the foods and to really be able to explore, because see, when you bring in the dogmas of some of these other things, or maybe a foods-less diet, or like a Sabi food-less diet, or this or that, and you try to combine it with the Mucusless Diet Healing System, you're gonna end up where you have no foods to eat, where you have nothing left to eat, because it's like, well, there's things on the Mucusless diet that on this other list says that I can't eat, then that says I can't, then you end up with literally like 5 or 6 things that you're allowed, that you feel like you have the permission to eat. Don't base your permission of what you should and shouldn't eat on a list. Deal with the system. And what happens is, as you deal with the system, Mucusless Diet Healing, operative word system, as you deal with the system, you start to feel and know what foods are going to react well with you, what foods are going to be cleansing, what foods are going to be fulfilling and sustaining, and which ones aren't, and which ones are the result of a craving for mucus forming foods. This is about developing an incredibly deep relationship with yourself, being incredibly honest with where you're at, with your cravings, with your addictions. Then you have your side addictions, whether your tobacco and your weed and your whatever else it is. And if you're somebody that aspires to become raw one day, or aspires to these higher levels of the fruit-based diet, you can get there using the principles of the Mucusless Diet Healing System. Or maybe you just want to overcome an ailment that you've been suffering with for years that nothing else has helped. Keto certainly didn't help it. Nothing else has helped, and so you're like, well, maybe this mucus-free thing, let's check this out. Or let's check out this fasting thing. But be careful with the fasting, as I recommend check out Mucusless Diet Healing System and Rational Fasting, Arnold Ehret's work, because you'll find yourself around people trying to really push you hard to do very long and, in my opinion, dangerous fast, particularly for people that have not had experience fasting. That's yet another thing where we're on the other end of, there's a big old movement of people that want to do these really long water fasts, and we're over here telling people, just do 24-hour juice fast, do a 48-hour juice fast, 72-hour juice fast, do that intermittently over the course of weeks. No, that's not intense enough. That's not, I want to be, 40-day water. I want to do what I saw somebody do on YouTube and that kind of stuff. Let go of all that. Let go of that. Let go of that. You don't need all that. This is about your story. This is your transformation. This is your movie. This don't have nothing to do with me or somebody else that's on YouTube or something like that. This is your body. And you got to become a master of your body. And as you do that, a whole other level of confidence comes along with that. Real confidence, supreme confidence, knowing that this is exactly what I should be doing right now. For whether it's eating, I might be eating some vegan processed stuff. It might be doing a short fast. It might be doing several days juicing, or getting into vegetable juice, or getting into cooked, baked zucchini, or baked cauliflower, or sauteed kale, whatever it is. You will be so much more grounded in knowing like this is it. But to get to that, you got to be patient with yourself because you have to have those experiences. Check out those different foods, the foods that are recommended in the Mucusless diet and in those menus and the food prep videos and my e-course and that kind of stuff. Test all that out, and if something doesn't work for you, move on to something else, because there's such a huge diversity of plants to eat that we don't need to feel as if, oh man, I gotta have this one thing. It's like, no, there's a bunch of different things. So have fun when you go to the store to pick up your produce. You want to kind of be in a good mood. Man, this is a privilege. It's a privilege to know this information, to have been given this good news. This is good news, man. Sometimes, boy, I tell people about this information and they're just so depressed and sad and angry. I'm like, man, this is great news. You mean to tell me that I don't have to, there's a chance that I don't have to suffer and die and end up like folks that's in the hospices and terminally ill in these nursing homes? You mean that I don't have to go out like that? That there's another way? That sure, there's some sacrifices on that path, but that just maybe I don't have to go down that road? It's a no-brainer for me. But this is an art form. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving with yourself. When you go into the produce section, man, breathe in and don't be like, oh man, I wish I could just be fasting, man. I gotta go eat some more. Man, it's a privilege. Get your salad stuff. Get your whatever it is, wherever you're at. Maybe it's a processed vegan thing that you're into at the moment. Just have it with a huge salad. But whatever it is, even in the relapse, give thanks. Because the transition is real. And wherever you want to transition, you can transition. But you got to do the work. But once you do the work, you will be supremely confident in knowing that exactly what you're eating is what you should be eating. So I thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, again, if you haven't signed up for the Mucus-free Life Insiders Club, go down below, click that link, sign up. It's totally free. You get some wonderful resources, 3 free PDFs, including some free recipes to get you started. Click that link, join us, and be kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. I just had to keep repeating that because I know, man, people are hard on themselves, man. I see folks just self-hatred for eating like a cooked vegetable or something. Like, oh, I had some cooked carrots. I hate myself, but I'm gonna be raw. I'm gonna get there. But right now, I'm just like, that's beautiful. It has some baked carrots. Some baked carrots with a big salad, man. That's That's a nice meal. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Some baked cauliflower, some baked whatever. You know. So thank you so much. And before you go, I want you to take a look right here. Here's another wonderful video that's been handpicked directly for you. So click right here and I will see you over there. Peace, love, and breath. Are you having trouble doing the things